Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix arrived that year. That was the fifth in the series, the first to be directed by David Yates, who would go on to direct the final three movies.
Yeah, and a good pick too, because this is kind of a mark in the franchise where things got really dark. And I think that's a big point for people who hadn't read the books, because up until this point it's been really whimsical and kind of fun, and like Harry's growing but he's still young, and this one we get the angst.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much angst. But it totally changes from like a kid's series too. I mean, it remains a kid's series, but you're totally right that characters start dying and it starts getting more serious, and it starts being like, yay, we're going on an adventure at a wizard school, to like actually more of like we need to save the world, and like the actual sort of plot of the story sort of kicks into high gear there for sure. It's a very, very cool wizard fight at the end of that movie. It remains probably, I'm not actually the world's like biggest Harry Potter fan, but I've seen all 8 movies and like them, and the scene at the end of 5, the big fight that takes place there, is probably my favorite moment of all 8 movies, I would say. It's great.
This was also the year the final book was released, the Deathly Hallows.
So many tears.
Do you like the movies more or the books more, right?
Books, of course.
Why don't you guys? Of course.
Well,
I want to presume.
While the movies are fun and there's fantastic acting, and I like a lot of the people they chose for the roles, you just get so much more from the books, and you have so much more time. I always think about like Goblet of Fire is one of my favorites, and was severely disappointed with the movie. That dragon scene was way too long, guys. It's like, what about the house elves?
Yeah, what about the house elves? That whole subplot.
Yeah, all of the Hermione stuff is just gone because they have to focus on a dragon. I mean, I know you can only have so much time in a film, and thancfully they didn't, at that point, they hadn't started splitting things off into, this is part 1 and part 2.
I tie 2007 is the year I moved to California, and I moved to California, got the HGTV, all the stuff I've been talking about in this episode. And so when the final book came out, first of all, that was a gigantic day for like Amazon. I don't know if you guys remember this, but they guaranteed delivery of the book that day. You don't need to go, like, everyone had been buying things online for a long time, but Amazon was still kind of a shaky thing in 2007. They said, no, don't go to a bookstore to buy Harry Potter. Buy it from us, and you're guaranteed delivery that day. And I remember looking out the window of my apartment and just seeing the like FedEx guy, the UPS guy, with just a huge stack of these Amazon boxes that were all Harry Potter. And we just moved here. We're just in my first apartment in California, and we didn't have like a couch or any furniture yet. And so I remember like just trying to find somewhere comfortable in my apartment to read the last book, and I blasted through the final Harry Potter book, really fast in a couple of days. And I've actually never gone back and reread it. So it's like I barely really remember. Like, I don't remember it that well because I just read through it as fast as I could in 2 or 3 days, and I feel like I want to go back through and do like a more slow reading to like internalize more of that plot.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, Harry Potter has been like this weird end of childhood.
Yeah, you grew up with it, right?
Yeah, so like I grew up reading, like when I was a super little kid, my mom read the first Harry Potter book to me because I was just that small, and reading the last one with my twin sister, like we went out at midnight and got it because we're like, no, we're not waiting for Amazon, get it now. It just marks these weird times, and especially with the films too. Like when the films ended, it's like, all right, now I'm an adult.
Yeah,
childhood's over.
Well, it's like the movies got darker as the kids grew up, and the books got darker, and the books also got more and more complex. Like if you go back and read the first book, it's totally like a kid's book, right? But the final book, in addition to the more adult themes, it also had more adult. Like it was just it was more complex, just grammatically. Like
a lot of the themes and like how they grew, like Harry's relationship with Dumbledore is so complex by the end. Like, I didn't like Dumbledore by the end. I thought he used Harry, and he did, and he admits to it. It's very interesting how that all changed by the end, and we saw that in the Deathly Hallows.
To come in a future episode of The History of Awesome.